All right, iBuyers. You know about them, you've heard about them, but do you really know what the real news is about iBuyers? And there's a new entrant in the market that just got here, and you gotta hear about them. We're gonna dig right into it on Cliff's Notes. Don't go anywhere. Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. You got that right. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to also welcome my co-host today, C3.
What's going on?
How you doing there, my man? Oh, this is going to be one show. I got to guarantee you. You guys have all heard about the iBuyers. Are they good? Are they bad? Is it good for the clientele? Is it good for the customer, the seller? Should I get involved with them if you're an agent? And we are going to go right to the meat of the coconut today, and I'm going to introduce a gentleman who is at the forefront of the new iBuyer program that you got to hear about, and we're going to do a deep dive into that program here in just a minute. Let me introduce him, and he's a top realtor in Southern California, has been since 2000. Nate, your team has closed over 1,000 transactions, and you recently partnered with EXP and Wedgewood, one of the largest buy and sell, iBuyers that there is in the country. And you've actually have been instrumental in bringing this to market. I want to welcome you, Nate Butcher, all the way in Southern California. How you doing, Nate?
I'm doing great, Cliff, and I really appreciate you having me here. I'm so excited to be able to talk about this with you today.
Hey, man, it is, I'll tell you what, it is so great to have you on the show. I have had so many questions about this whole iBuyer thing, and we hear now that Zillow's in it, and the hocus pocus that they're pulling with their Z estimates and so forth, and now they're in the iBuyer market, and they've got these huge questions I get from sellers all the time. What is going on in this market? Why should we even be considering it? So I want to go ahead and get right down to the quick here and ask you a couple of questions. So EXP just introduced a new program called eXpressOffers. And Nate, will you go in and just tell us what is different about eXpressOffers? Did I say eXpressOffers? Yep. I've been doing that all day. It's called eXpressOffers. And I've seen it, and I got to tell you, I am so excited about it. But you're the man, you're the source. Let's hear from you. What really differentiates eXpressOffers with Zillow and Open Door and OfferPad, just to name 3 there?
Well, absolutely, and I want to tell you just what absolutely we're so different. I almost hate to call it an iBuyer program, and here's why: is because what EXP has done, we have partnered with true fix and flip construction companies across the country. Our flagship iBuyer, as you would call it right now, is a company called Wedgewood. They're located headquarters out of Redondo Beach, over 700 employees. They buy in 19 states, moving into almost 22 here. Called the EXP model, and just wanted to be a part of it. So I was instrumental in being able to bring that. And but what Wedgewood does, we're just going to use Wedgewood as one of the companies because they're our biggest right now as we go. But they buy properties at auction. They buy over 5,000 properties, all cash. They've been in business for almost 30 years. The founder there today, wonderful people. I talk to them daily, and they buy those houses, heavy rehab, new roofs, new floors, new kitchen, put beautiful finishes on them, make brand new house. We call it, we take broken houses and turn them into happy homes. Okay, so that's what we do. So when I was to bring this idea to Glenn Sanford and told him, we wanted to be different than Zillow and Open Door and OfferPad and some of these other, we call those the big threes, because those are more marketing companies that like to do just a little bit of carpet and light rehab, paint, and try to stick the house back on the market. But what we do, we really help a seller pay cash. We can buy it and close within 48 hours, or we can give them, a couple months to move if it's a contingent offer. So we just want to bring the seller choices, and that's one of our fix and flip partners that we're talking about when we're talking about Wedgewood.
All right, so let's be clear here. Wedgewood is not a brand new company, and they're already size-wise. Can you just give us some numbers for relative comparison in terms of? I mean, you're bringing somebody here that's been doing this a long time. They're not brand new. Tell us a little bit about how they compare volume-wise and length of time in the business again. I think that's really important.
Sure. Well, Wedgewood has been around for, like I said, almost 30 years. If you look at their office, if you want to Google them, you can Google Wedgewood-Inc. and you can see their beautiful office. They own almost a whole city block in Redondo Beach. Office looks like a Google office or something out of Apple, right? It's just beautiful. But they have been doing this for over almost 30 years. Here's the great thing about Wedgewood is the founders still work there today. And I talk to them, and they roll up their sleeves, and they get in there, and they work to buy these properties. So this is a huge company. There's also Civic, Home Loans is under there, and they're a private money lending company, over $1 billion a year. So basically, they'll buy the tapes of properties. They'll buy fix and flips, but never was buying from the general public, right? So, but they want to be able to buy more homes. So when we had the idea of bringing these true, the true institutional buyer to the market, that was our goal, because what we see from a Zillow realistically is, I don't even know that Zillow really wants to buy the home. They want to get in, talk to the homeowner, and sell the lead to the real estate agent. Open Door, in a market like Phoenix, where Open Door, Zillow, and OfferPad currently operate, 40% of the homeowners request an offer, an instant offer, or an express offer, but they only buy approximately 4 to 6% of the homes. Why is that? It's because there's no real estate agent in the transaction on a continual basis. How express offers is different. And one of the things that I really wanted to talk to Glenn about, when Glenn Sanford, our founder, as you know, and he was very passionate about, and Jason Guesting, our CEO, we want to be the champion of the real estate agent. We want to give the client choices. We're not bringing an institutional buyer to a client to try to take advantage of the property. We're saying, we can pay maximum dollar that anybody can offer, because maybe you need a new kitchen before you put it to market, and you can't afford to get that house up for full market value. Or let's say there's a situation you need to close quickly, 2 days, 5 days, we buy all cash. So we're bringing the homeowner's choices, the seller's choices, and we truly want to purchase the property. We don't have ulterior motives.
Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Right.
You know, we're not, this is not a brokerage that's pivoting, saying all of a sudden now we're an iBuyer company. We've actually partnered with, it sounds to me, it would be hard to refute that Wedgewood is the best of breed of the people that have been doing it longer than anybody else have, and at their size. So with regard to size, Nate, tell us where Wedgewood is operating. Are they all over the country now?
They're not all over the country. There's certain markets that they're not in. If you think of the Sun Belt is where they're mostly in, all the way from Florida, Texas, Arizona, a lot of deals in California up through the Bay Area. Just to let you know, size and volume and purchase capability, they're Home Depot's #1 client in the United States. Okay, so that's the types of people that you're dealing with here. So going to be in 22 states. Are we going to open up more markets? I think Gary and Dave Worley, these are some of the owners down there. Are they open to that? Sure, I think so. Are they open to everywhere? Everywhere doesn't work for everybody, but we're trying to bring this and use the EXP community to feed these more properties, so we can be of a benefit to the EXP agent and also the sellers out there that we serve.
Got it. I think C3's got a question for you, Nate.
What's going on, Nate? Hey, what buy and hold companies? What are they exactly? And are all iBuyers at EXP fix and flip? Is that going to be standard?
That That is a great question, and they are not all fix and flip, and that's probably one of the biggest benefits to our program. We talk a lot about Wedgewood because it took a year to develop all the technology to be able to get the agent to be able to submit. We have a full training staff training our agents.
And there's a seller calling right now. Yes.
I turned my phone off, but I'm really sorry about that. I don't know how that rang on my phone. Okay, we're back. So anyway, that rang across my computer. But a buy and hold company, here's what a buy and hold company is. I'm not going to talk any names on those particularly because we're finishing up the paperwork, right? But I'll let you know that they're the biggest in the country that operate, are going to be on our platform. A buy and hold company basically buys at market value. Okay, and you say, well, what does that mean? So let's just I always like to use Phoenix because there's a lot of homogenized neighborhoods, meaning tract type neighborhoods. So a buy and hold company might come in and say, you know what, we like this particular tract. It's got an $80 HOA. It has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, or 4 bedrooms, 2 baths. This is our buy box. This is what we go. And for the real estate agent, you go out there and find those properties, and they will pay market value for those properties. And the agents will be able to submit those properties. So everything with the EXP program is not just fix and flip. There's heavier fix and flip like a Wedgewood. There's buy and holds like some of these other companies. So probably for the EXP agent specifically, or the people who are thinking about coming to EXP, you will be able to sell properties that meet their criteria, their buy box at market value. Okay, these companies buy right off of the MLS currently. They just can't find enough properties.
Wow, that is that's incredible. So we talk about buyers as in plural. So are there additional? I mean, what's the potential here that you could get express offers to actually give you competing offers on a property? Is that possible?
That is absolutely possible, and that's what we're going to, because we always have to keep in mind, and here's something that the leaders of EXP, when we talk, from Glenn Sanford to Jason Gessing, the CEO, to Ted Latz, who's an amazing man who runs this whole program and the training program and set up the platform, is we want to be there for the seller to give them choices. So let's say we're in Los Angeles, California, and Wedgewood buys a fix and flip there. We may have 3 or 4 other fix and flip companies that also buy in that neighborhood. So they'll also be on the platform. So they might potentially bid against each other, therefore servicing the seller best. Okay. Same way with the buy and holds. We could have them buying in multiple markets. Now, are we going to be in all 50 states? We sure hope so. Okay. We're onboarding institutional buyers from smaller ones to the largest, like a Wedgewood. Okay, and in all the states we're working on right now, we're rolling those out, Cliff. I think you've seen the map, and we hope to be within the year to have the agents and communities all over the country to be able to participate and have this option. It's all about choices for the seller, choices for the agent. Well,
and not only choices, but for a seller, we often hear the 3 C's brought up. You know, the convenience of the transaction, the seller having more control over the transaction, and then lastly the certainty. So it's really it's sort of a value swap, Nate, is the way that I think about it. You know, a seller, always wants to get the best outcome, but for some sellers it might not just be the highest price, because they may have other criteria that are really important to the whole process. Yeah. For example, they may need to get it sold quickly, or they may need to not be disturbed by having. In fact, we're coming up on the holidays here. Some people actually take their homes off the market during the holidays, just so they don't have to be bothered with showings. What are some of the other things that benefit? So that we talk about the 3 C's. Is there anything else that comes to mind when you think about this, Nate, as a benefit to the end user, the consumer?
One of the things with clients that I've been using, because I've been doing this for a little while longer because of my intimate connection with some of these iBuyers, and it's the ability to be able to purchase a home that nobody would take a contingent offer. So let's say that there's this beautiful home that just popped up on the market, and you only wanted that street in that neighborhood, and you've been waiting 2 years. But this seller is like, well, I'm not going to take a contingent offer. Your home has not sold yet. You call our Wedgewood connection, the EXP agent uploads it on the platform. They get an immediate offer. So let's say that home didn't need to be repaired. It wasn't a fix and flip, their current home. Well, they may get 85 cents on the dollar, but then they made their deal on the other side. They get the home they want. That has, for me, and especially people with more of a the taste, they want what they want, and they want it now, right? Can get you that house, no more contingent offers.
Well, and that makes perfect sense in a move-up market where somebody is moving from, say, a $400,000 house to an $800,000 house. Perhaps they could sacrifice a little money on selling their $400,000 house because they're winding up with a great deal, maybe a $100,000 discount on this $800,000 house if they can move on it. So, man, that is that is a super strategy. That is really nice to be able to help, and really all we're doing here is we're providing liquidity in an illiquid market. I mean, this is not the stock market, although pricing and transparency and so forth has gotten a lot better with the internet. We still don't trade houses like we trade stocks. I mean, it takes 30 days, to get a house through the closing process. So what about with the iBuyers, Nate? How long does it take somebody to get closed on a deal when they're involved with EXpressOffers?
Well, here's the way, and because we have multiple across the country, I think I'll just speak to the one who's actually transacting the most right now. Let's just use Wedgewood, okay? So let's say Wedgewood comes in and you need to close that house right away. They'll come in, they'll send a supervisor out to do a quick inspection within 48 hours. It could be within as quick as 24 hours. They'll look at that property. They'll make their offer right there. So let's say that you need to be out of that house and you need that escrow closed. They can close immediately off cash. Let's say that you need 30 days. You need 45 days. Sometimes they'll lease that house back to you. So they'll leave you in the property or they'll extend the escrow. So there's a lot of different things when it comes to choices. Maybe your house doesn't need to be completely remodeled. Wedgewood would still love to buy that and help you move on to your new property, just as long as that's noted in the platform when the EXP agent brings it in. And I want to let you know this too, Cliff. This is just not an EXP. It is an EXP platform, but for the EXP agent, if they were networking with another company, a Remax or a Keller Williams, the EXP agent at that point is allowed to represent the institutional buyer, and they could use that Remax agent and get that property, and they could submit that too. So we can all work collectively, but it's definitely a big benefit to the EXP agent. But the EXP agent has to represent the express offer in some sense to use EXpressOffers as of right now.
Right. That's a great point, Nate. Well, hey, Nate, so you mentioned the big three, right? Zillow, OfferPad, and Open Door. Seeing to try to circumvent the real estate professional and take them out of the transaction. How do you see EXP handling that? Are they going to keep the professional in the transaction, or are they? How are they going to go about that?
Yes, absolutely. So if there's anything, and I spoke about it in Las Vegas when we got up and we introduced EXpressOffers, to our company, and it was wonderful. One thing that I personally am passionate about, okay, and Glenn is passionate about, and Jason and Ted, the owners of EXP. We want to keep the real estate agent in the transaction. We do not take them. And let me give you a statistic, and this is a good statistic because I've checked it out before I would speak it on something like this. When I said 40% of the sellers in Phoenix are requesting that quick offer, but only 6% are getting purchased, and Open Door alone is writing 35,000 offers a month. Okay, why is that? You know why I believe it is? When I went to Glenn and we had our conversation about how we wanted to start this, it's because there's no real estate agent in the transaction. So EXpressOffers will soon be a public site, just like an Open Door. The public can fill in the information. Okay, in California, you can do it right now. That information will come to EXP. EXP is different. We do not buy the property. We send it to our true institutional buyers who want to buy the property. Okay. So what happens is when that express offer comes in, that lead is given to an EXP agent. It's a massive lead generation system. That EXP agent who's certified in our institutional buyer program will call the client and say, you have asked for an offer. I would like to come out, sit with you, meet you, look at your house, because your house might not qualify for a fix and flip. it might not qualify for a buy and hold. So we say we could give you this offer, or we could give you this offer, or we may be better for the seller to take them down the traditional route. We want to do what's best for the seller. And I think that differentiates us between someone who's trying to put a little bit of paint and new carpet in a house and turn it for a quick profit. We are not, that is not our goal.
Wow,
That's great.
That's really interesting. All right, I want to check in with the audience here. If you guys, we may have time for a question or two. If you're watching us live and you want to put a question in Facebook, Travis, are we able to catch any live questions today?
For sure, we can. We already have some interaction. Randy Bird.
Okay, Randy. Hey, Randy, what's up, brother?
He's saying amazing show, Cliff. Vince Parcell. He's also saying great stuff, Nate. We haven't had a question just yet, but we can definitely grab some if someone has a question.
Well, let me see if anybody in the audience, go ahead and on our Facebook page in the comment section, type in your question. In the meantime, hit us with some love and some hearts if you're liking this. I'll tell you what, this is for me. I've had sort of a tainted vision of the whole iBuyer space for several reasons. Number one, and I didn't feel like it was in the best interest of the consumer. Number two, I also felt like it was not really great for real estate agents either. And, having unrepresented people in transactions where, they were basically sitting ducks for the iBuyers to come in and pick them off. And we've just talked about, how that's not the case here. Let's talk a little bit, Nate, maybe if you would. I want to talk about transparency in the transaction process. Can you describe to us, talk a little bit about how transparency works with regards to fees when Wedgewood or one of the other institutional investors makes an offer?
Well, this is where we are totally different. Okay, so when we send out that agent, okay, that agent does a fee structure with the seller, just like a typical would be a commission. Obviously, commissions aren't set. The agent will go out and set that. Our institutional buyers do not charge a fee to purchase their property. I know if you look at some of these other ones, there are fees in small print that add up to much more than the traditional commission would be, even from location to location. Well, our institutional buyers want to buy that property. No fees are charged from the institutional buyer to the seller.
So there's no cost of carry fees that the iBuyer throws in there, or any future real estate commissions or things like that then?
Absolutely not. We did not want that. That seller will sit with our real estate agent, and they will negotiate their fee structure. They will know exactly what they're getting. And that's how that transaction will go through. There's no hidden fees. And what we really try to do in our fix and flips, I know with Wedgewood, we did the property with no repairs to the seller. So we try, and that might not be in every case if we find something really bad during the inspection, but we try to give our best offer forward. And then we do not renegotiate, which is a big problem with some of the other iBuyers. They get in the door and then all of a sudden they call it convenience fee, or there's some different terms that they use. And we don't do that. This is not our motivation.
Couldn't remember the name of the fee. It's a convenience fee, right?
It's called the bend over fee.
The bend over fee.
Yeah.
The convenience fee is astronomical. So we want to be transparent with the seller. Here's your offer. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to close cash. We're going to release our contingencies. You can feel free to go buy that new home of your choice over the next 30, 45 days, and we'll close it right away if that's what you need us to do.
All right, let's go to Travis. We got a question, Travis.
Hey, yeah, Nate. So Jim Freeman, he has a question. He says, does the procuring broker get the listing on a fix and flip?
Great question. Hello, Jim, by the way, in Oregon.
What's going on, Mr.
Man,
Freeman?
nice talking to you. Give me a call after the show today, will you, brother?
Right on.
Go ahead.
So what I'm going to try to answer that question the best I can, because it's going to vary from company to company. Remember, we're going to have more instances in our. So I will answer for Wedgewood. Okay. So as of right now, if that house is flipped and Wedgewood gets that property from a broker, then they get the property back as a listing, and to resell that property after it's been completely remodeled from top to bottom, that agent does get that, and we have all the proper disclosures in place to let the seller know that that's going to be happening, so everything is transparent and everybody's aware.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a real plus because, chances are that broker had is now, if they, let me back up for a second. I want to, Jim, I believe that got your question answered. I just thought of something here that I wanted to ask you, Nate. And Travis, if we have another question, let us know. But not to shift gears, but if an agent has a listing, when is the best time to go in to get an offer on the home? Is it prior to listing? Is it at the beginning of the listing? Or is it after the listing's been on the market for 180 days and hasn't sold, Nate?
Great question.
Here's the great thing about our program. It's all three, and I'll tell you why. It depends on the seller. Okay, so if that seller wants the convenience or some of the 3 C's, we can take all the hassle out of it. We do it right away. Let's say the seller's like, I would like to try this price, and this price that maybe Wedgewood is offering is a little less. I wanted to go the traditional route. So the real estate agent puts that home on the market. It goes 180 days, and it doesn't sell. They can always go back to our institutional buyers, submit that home through the platform, and make a transaction with one of ours. We're not there to force anybody to do anything. We're there again to give them choices. So any period would be one.
Okay. Is it possible that during those 3 periods that the offer might be a better offer before the listing hit the market?
I wouldn't say it would be no. It would be, I don't want to say it would be a better offer. I know that when I'm with the gentleman Wade down there, Baumgartner, who looks at the product, they try to offer their best. There's not a lot of counter offering back and forth, right? We're going to say this is our best price with this particular property, and it stays what it is. And then now, if it goes 6 months and the market shifts up or down, that property might need to be resubmitted. The offer could change, obviously, if there's time. But yeah, they go at the time of what they want to purchase, and that's the offer they make, and they put their best foot forward on their first offer.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. All right. So you mentioned a term that not everybody may be familiar with earlier. You mentioned the term buy box. And I know it's going to depend for each investor, but are there certain homes that are outside of all of your investors' buy boxes?
Absolutely. And every investor's buy box is going to be different. Okay.
Right.
So, for instance, a Wedgewood might buy a property that's up to $2 billion in Santa Barbara County. But let's say it was maybe in the outskirts of Los Angeles County or something. They may only want to pay $350,000, depending on where it is. Texas, their buy box is different than Arizona and Miami, Florida. So the agent will go on and they will see multiple buy boxes on our platform. They'll see all the institutional buyers that are buying in their particular area by zip code, and they'll be able to submit those properties depending on the buy box. Now, the agent success, because Cliff, I know you have thousands of agents that listen to your information here. The agent, to be successful, you need to be a true student of the buy box. Now, EXP, we have a wonderful training staff that's certifying everyone, but it's the agent's responsibility to really know, does my iBuyer in my area buy next to train tracks? Probably not. What if it's under power lines? Might not. In Miami or in Florida, there's sinkholes. Okay, well, we don't have those in California, but we have freeways. So there's going to be some no's on there, right? All homes are not going to qualify, but a lot of homes will.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. If there's a limit on size of the acreage, the value of the home compared to the land, that type of thing, and also a ceiling on prices. So it's normal. I mean, you're really trying to stick to the sweet spot. This is not for those houses that have no marketability, right? These are for houses that you can go in, you can do your magic on the remodel, create some value, and then resell it. So that's the purpose most of the time, unless it's a buy and hold. And we know that for the buy and hold market, for all investors, you want to try to stay in the sweet spot there. You don't want to get too far out because there's too much risk when you get
back to that.
I would like to say one thing about what EXP is producing. Okay, we want something for everybody. This is just not for the big city agents. Okay, we have one institutional buyer that I got a phone call on the other day, and I don't know if he'll make it on the platform, but they like 10-acre properties with small homes or modular homes on them, and that's the only thing they buy. We had another one that liked to buy certain pieces, types of land. So this is, let's say you're in Montana and you're an EXP agent. We hope to have something for you. We can't guarantee something for everybody, but it's not just for Dallas and Houston and Los Angeles and Phoenix, right? We really want to expand that as much as we can to where we can help all of our agents, because we're an international company, right? So and we're a national company, so we want our people in Maine to be able to submit properties as well as Philadelphia and Miami and Texas, where we do a lot of business.
Well, that's really great to hear, because I know from experience the big three, their criteria are so tight you couldn't put a piece of paper between them. I mean, that's how tight they were. So that's really interesting to hear, and I'm sure as this program flourishes and is successful, which I know it's going to be. I mean, what a huge difference in the benefits to the sellers and also to the agents, to keep it in the community so that everybody can, it's a win-win-win situation here. There's no question about it. And boy, just the structure of the model, it's so congruent to what eXp's business model is. It's not always the proprietary in-house stuff that's the best, but we are able to work with the best of breed like Wedgewood and your other buyers and so forth to deliver a really first-class product that'll lead the marketplace here as we go forward. Nate, I hate to say this, but if I just looked at my clock, and I got to tell you, this show has flown by, we're going to have to call it a wrap here. Is there anything in closing that you would like to say to our audience, or perhaps address agents who might be interested in learning more about eXpressOffers?
I think that I want to tell the agents that are already there, go to your workplace Facebook and make sure you're on that, because that's the way we communicate with all the training. Be a student of the buy box. If you're wanting or interested in EXP and coming to this company, think about it. There's no franchises. So the collaboration, I would have never known you, Cliff, if there was a franchise in my way. I would have never known these people across the country and all these states. So I'm doing business all over the place because we're one model. So these institutional buyers like a Wedgewood or these other people that we brought, they could have never done this with a traditional model because they would have to make too many agreements. Here, they make it with just EXP. We're one company. We're agent owners. We're all part of the process, and we're all working together to do it. And we'd be happy to help anybody as an agent or as an institutional buyer. If you're listening to this, you want to be a part of our platform, reach out to me, and I'll set you up with the right people to get it done.
Well, Nate, we're grateful to have you on the show, and even more grateful that you made that call to Glenn Sanford some time ago to share this idea with him. I see this as such an integral part as we move forward, in the real estate industry as we look at the disruption and the changes. I think there are disruptors, and then I think there are change agents that are in here. And I think we're really taking the role as a change agent here to help things move forward for the better. So I want to wish you the best. Thank you again for being on the show. If someone wanted to reach out to you personally, Nate, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
You know what? I do everything right off my cell phone, and I don't care if it put it out. I'll give you my cell phone number. If you want to take it down, send me a text is always the best way, and then we can connect through a Zoom or any other way. It's area code 661-312-6720. 661-312-6720. Shoot me a message. If you're already an EXP agent, get me on Workplace Chat, and I'll answer any questions you have, and I'll try everything I can to help you. And I know the top of the company will do the same. We just want to see it all grow together.
Yeah, amen, Nate. Thank you. I'll make sure that we get that number in the comments section for folks who come back and watch this at a later time. All right, Nate Butcher, Wedgewood and EXP.
Man.
What an incredible show this has been today. Trelvis, want to thank you, sir, very much for helping us with the questions today. You're always flying at the right altitude and making sure we get down safely. We appreciate you, my man.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all.
All right. So that's going to do it for us today, folks, on this episode of Cliff Notes. Please join us next week at the same time. We'll be right here, back here for you with a super special guest. So good golf, good tennis. Get out there before it gets too cold and enjoy it. We'll see you all next week. Have a great one.